Okay, I have 10 o'clock. We will call the Harrison County Commission meeting for February 16th, 2022 to order. We will rise and Mr. Spires will lead the prayer and pledge.
Join me in the Lord's Prayer, Lord, please. Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's take a second and recognize Wendy Madden from Congressman McKinley's office. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Hinkle, you are on Zoom, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anyone signed up for public comment, Johnny? Okay. Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? One more time. Anybody on Zoom wish to speak publicly?
Yes, I would like to, please. Can you hear me?
Would you please identify yourself for the record? Let us know.
Yes, I'm sorry I'm on the phone this morning instead of in person. This is Bill Ofield calling. I am a resident of Hepzibah and I would like to speak on the issue of the Hepzibah PSD rate increase.
Okay.
Whenever you want me to.
Go ahead. I mean, you can speak now.
Okay. All right. Good morning, commissioners and everyone. I am Bill Ofield. I'm a resident of Hepzibah, a customer of the enlarged Hepzibah PSD, and we did get this notice of the rate increase. And to me, it seems exorbitant at 26%. It was something that came as a surprise. I also am a representative payee for a family member on a fixed income. So I know that this increase of $10 for residential to $10.11 may not seem like much to some, but to others, it does have an impact. And I just wanted to raise that with you and also wonder if it'd be possible with the infrastructure money, if immediately that's what I thought of when I got this notice. And I was hoping we could, that would be some help for us to do this because these projects are needed. And I know the projects that the commission has selected are excellent ones with the, I believe, ARP money. So I'm not saying anything about that. I know we're right in the middle of here in Hepzibah between Shinston and Lumberport. They're well deserving of what they're getting. They need help too. So I just raise that to say, see what you can do for us, please. And I'm available should you have any questions and really appreciate what you're doing. And all of this has raised one concern though. Did my PSD timely file a request for funding for this project? That's kind of the conversation now that's going on among the residents. So I don't know that yet, but that's something we're looking into. And I want to thank you for allowing me to speak this morning.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on Zoom wish to speak? Okay. Consent agenda, number 2 on the agenda. What's the pleasure? Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, I have 10:05 and 10:05, we have a funding request, Operation Firm Handshake, Inc., Martin Broderick. Mr. Broderick?
You know, you guys started this for us really in 2019, and you guys have helped us be successful. Our first year at our event, we fed around 300 veterans. COVID hit in 2020, we didn't have the event, but last year we fed over 900 veterans and their families at our event. And we're hoping to exceed 1,000 this year. So, you know, you guys have been part of our success, so we truly thank you, but we're growing so fast now that we're actually starting another chapter in Tennessee. So Illinois, West Virginia, Tennessee. And we're just trying to feed and help as many veterans in distress as we can. So your assistance would be greatly appreciated.
Great project you started.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Madam President, make the motion to allocate $2,000 to this, please.
Okay, the motion's been made to allocate the $2,000 that was requested. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your service. Okay, number 3, payroll change notices. We just have one.
Motion to approve A.
Motion to approve A on payroll changes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meeting. It's a pleasure.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve A, B, and C.
Please.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carried. Number 5, requisitions, purchase orders, invoices as shown on vendor requisition list of payments A.
Madam President, I would like to make one change to it. It would be work order number 37806. There's a typo in the vendor name. It said on the original agenda packet that went out that it was for the county clerk, and it actually is for Harrison County YMCA. So there was a typo, and I just want that to be reflected that we fixed that.
Motion to approve and reflects the county administrator's comments.
Motion to approve and reflect the administrator's comments. Any further discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I'd like to know why we're paying the internal revenue 22,000 from back in 2020.
this has been an ongoing issue. That it was abated several occasions to no avail. So we don't have any other option but to pay this.
And who's tried to abate this issue?
This has been going on. If you want to point me out, that's fine, since I was the clerk.
I'm not trying to point you out. I'm just trying to
I
understand
just want to make sure I get that out there.
why we're paying 22,000 from a 2020, and this is the first time it's ever been discussed. It's never been brought up before the commission till today.
Commissioner Hinkle, this was a mishap that happened before we had Paycom. So it has gone back that far in the history books. I know that the paperwork trail that I have seen, we've tried to work, they told us it was abated. Then they said, no, we owe a bill, and we have finally, Courtney has done a great job trying to get it straightened out, and this is where we're at now with the bill that they finally sent us.
Was there interest and penalty involved in this 22,000?
Yes, sir.
Do we have something from the Internal Revenue saying that this is settled?
We're making the payment. That's how we're settling it. You don't want to pay the IRS?
Susan is not, I don't want to pay the IRS. I don't want to continue to pay the IRS. If we've been having
I
a
don't either,
disagreement
but-
with them, then I would have thought we'd have had something that for a final settlement, that this was the money, the only money we'd have to pay. I don't want to pay it and find out we still owe twice this amount.
That's not how it works, but I'm not gonna say anything else. Either you want to
Well,
pay.
you
or
explain to me how the internal revenue works then, Susan.
Oh, because it's very hard due to COVID. You can't even meet with these people. Everything is done over the phone and you talk to a different person every time and you get told a different story. Believe me, I've been listening to it. So that's how it works.
Again, I just find it interesting. This is just coming before the commission. Why hasn't this been brought to us before today? Laura,
David, I don't have an answer for that. I
have
know
you been
that-
working, on this?
Yes, I have, on and on.
And nobody thought this was something the commission should know about? I'm not trying to be a butt here, guys, but we owe the IRS that money if it's on payroll. And I still don't know what, I'm guessing that's what it is, because that just says tax period. It doesn't say what we're paying it for. There's people that's liable for that money.
David, this dated back so far that I thought that all the commissioners were aware of this.
Nope, never been talked about.
I actually did know about it. We also, when
If you knew about it, Patsy, it didn't come in a commission meeting.
Why it didn't come from a commission meeting that we owed the vending machines at the hospital either, David, but we owed it for 2 years when Laura first took over as well. So, you know, the day-to-day operations of the courthouse have had some errors and we apologize for that. And now we're making up for it. And I've asked Laura to assure that we don't fall behind anymore.
Who made the error?
We as administration. I know you didn't, but the administration did, and we had an oversight in a few areas, and we've paid up and we're even now.
The administration.
Mhm.
Are you talking about the county administration, or are you talking about the bookkeeping administration?
Well, you know, I just think.
David, you know darn well who it is.
Well,
If you want us to, I mean,
Yeah. it's
and you're not wanting to point fingers, that this is just going a little bit too far. If
No,
you've got
ma'am.
questions-
I think the public has a right to know why
The
we're.
public has
paying
every right to know. That's
$22,000.
why I told you what it was. I have no problem telling you what it was about. Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I'm making a motion to remove 3799 until the commission can actually look down and see what happened.
Okay, the motion's been made to remove 3799. Is that the number? I'm sorry. I don't have the clock in front of me. I guess I should. Make sure I get the right one.
37799.
37799. Any further discussion on that? Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, we'll go back to the original motion to approve the vendor requisition list of payments. On A, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Please note the opposition. Motion carried.
I have a comment.
Sure.
When we send the payment into the IRS, please draft a cover letter which states that it's for full satisfaction of the outstanding balance and the tender and acceptance of the check means satisfaction. I can work with Laura on that.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it probably should have been brought to your attention a long time ago, or so, well, we didn't have an attorney back then. So like I said, I will take full responsibility for it. Number 6, exoneration corrective tickets, joint applications on A and B, exhibits A and B. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve A and B, please.
Motion to approve number 6, A and B. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? No opposition, motion carried. Number 7, it appears that we do not have any.
That is correct.
Number 8, consideration of approval of project fund requisitions for the payment of costs associated with the General Services Administration Building project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2020 bonds issued for the Harrison County Building Commission. A, B, and C.
Motion approved A through C, please.
Okay, the motion's been made to approve number 8, A through C. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 9, review, discuss, consider monthly minutes, financial information from various boards, committees, and public service districts. A, Sun Valley PSD, what's the pleasure?
Motion approved the minutes, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Andy, make part of the record, I'm sorry.
That's why I don't understand why it went, but anyways. Okay, motion's been made to approve and make part of the record. Any discussion? I don't understand. I really go back to why these are on here. We don't approve their minutes. They approve their own minutes. That's my discussion. So all in favor signify by saying aye. Review, discuss, consider enlarged Tepsy Ball PSD rate increase. This goes before the PSC, correct? We have nothing in this other than to try to,
To acknowledge it.
and I do acknowledge Mr. Ofield's concerns. And it may be something we want to try to see if there's anything we can do. That's my comments on that.
So the proper motion to be to move it forward to the PSC for
Well,
consideration.
I don't think we do that. This is just for our review. Is that correct?
It's already been filed with the PSC.
It's been published. I saw it in the paper.
Okay,
So, I mean, it's just for information. Is that correct?
That's correct. They provided the county commission their notice of filing with the PSC. Case number 21-0825.
I mean, we have no authority whether to shoot it down or shoot it up or,
Up to the PSC, and they provided a financial justification, I presume, within their filing. They would certainly be required to have an accountant do that for the rate increase.
it's just part of the record for us today, correct?
Take it as part of the record. correct?
Okay, thank you. So the motion's to make it part of today's record?
motion makes part of the record, please.
Okay, motion's been made to make it part of today's record. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 11, review, discuss, consider creation of Economic Development Administration Fund number 108. This was tabled. It was, we're taking it off the table, I guess, but it's not on the table. I think you're up. You want Amy to speak to this, or do you want to speak to this, or how do we want to do this?
Yes, so this is on the agenda to set up the line item for the ACH for the grant, the EDA grant. And I know that I asked Amy a couple of questions, what our match is, where we are with the loan and stuff like that. So I think it'd be best, Amy, would you like to come up and speak on it?
Just identify yourself, so we know who you
All
are.
right, Amy Wilson, Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. Thank you. As Laura said, this is.
I
a-
appreciate you coming just to clarify
sure.
some things. And I know some of this stuff has probably been mentioned before, but we've had a lot going on, and I just want to make sure that we.
Completely understand. It can,
Yes,
it
yes.
can be confusing, so I understand that. So I'll try to clarify and answer what questions I can. The item on the agenda that you have right now in front of you is just administrative and requirement of the grant itself. So to back up a little bit, I guess just for a refresher, the land is owned by the county authority. So through the county commission, the
The
corporation,
Development Authority, right?
right, the development authority owns the land through the county commission.
Not the corporation.
Not the
authority.
corporation, right? Corporation, as the lead economic development entity for the county, applied for the grant funds. We do not own the land, but as Commissioner Treescross had mentioned it when we were awarded, this is a team effort. So we do have a piece of land in the county owned by the authority. The corporation applied for the grant funds to develop a project. This is the 50,000 square foot building that will go into the Harrison Regional Industrial Park. we were awarded the grant, which is one of the largest ones for this area, the $2.6 million federal EDA funds. Now, the county commission was good enough to put up the match for that at the time. I think Commissioner Treecross, this is where you had the questions on the match.
No, the only question is, we know that the EDC doesn't have the authority because it's us to say yes or no to the grant if it doesn't come in the way we would like it, because that was mentioned. And then what I was asking is going into the budget season, do you have the matching money?
We don't, but that's where I wanted to, that was your question from before, I think, to get it right. And I apologize, I was not here at the meeting, and I didn't
No,
log into
it's
the
as
meeting.
simple as that.
But for the match itself, the county commission put up the funds for that in order for us to apply. Those were based on an estimated cost estimate of what it would take to build that. Now that we have the grant funds in hand, our intent was never to use those funds, and it's still never the intent to use those funds, the matching funds. What the corporation will do now, we're in the process of detailing, instead of the estimated cost to apply for it, we need actual costs to go out to bid. Once we get an estimated cost, or I guess an actual cost for that match, we will then go to the state and apply for a loan. The corporation. The county commission will not be in the county commission's name. The loan itself will be, for the matching funds, will be in the corporation's name. So we will be really on the ticket to pay the bill for that. We will have the monthly payments on that. So we will have to fill that building. And as the lease and the rent payments come in, we will satisfy the loan. Nothing comes out of the county funds. This was just a holding spot from the county for the match in order to apply for the funds.
So you already know for sure, you have literature saying you're going to get a loan from the state?
We've met with the state, but we have to have the numbers from this. We have to have numbers to present to them. So
It
we
has to be
also have,
concrete numbers that you just, I mean.
right. So the engineer is putting together the concrete. And now the difference is, and I'll go a little bit further. When we applied, it was a 50,000 square foot shell building. And we were going to build this shell building. Because we have an end user in mind, we would like to build this building specifically for them. They have now given us their layout and their plans for this building. So instead of just an empty shell, we may consider building it out for them. We will put the cost together of what that is. Maybe too high for us, and maybe something that they want to build out. But we want to look at the costs first, which is what we're doing now. Let's say it comes in at $2 million to build the building and to fit everything out as far as detailed for this company. That's something we can do. We will then go to the state, which we've already met with. We have another meeting on Friday to go over something that they typically do and they have done as recent as the past month, several projects. We also have a couple banks in mind. Because it's under a certain amount, it's not up high enough that we can't use a local bank to apply for that loan.
Because it's only $1.3 million.
Right. What the numbers now, and I think I submitted to you the documentation on the loan itself, we're at 875,000.
How come?
So that's the match.
How did it draw?
We overestimated based on the Industrial Road Access Grant, which we have now received, $400,000. We have the city of Bridgeport, and we have utilities that have now come down. Doesn't mean that those costs can't go back up, because this was during COVID that we applied. So right now, the match in order to complete that project is right around $900,000. Now, when we get the estimates on the building cost, that might go up to $1 million, might go up to $1.2 million. Either way, we have to get those numbers first and apply for that match.
Now the
The
$400,000.
corporation does, not the authority, not the county commission.
So what are you going to use the $400,000 for that we applied for at the courthouse?
That's for the industrial road access. That's to put the road in for the industrial park itself.
So that's going to go into material and labor for the road.
Mhm. And to pave the road.
And
So
then,
you're using that, is that the $400,000 you're talking about brings that down? to
That was,
800?
yes, that was part of the original application to the EDA. You have to have a road that was put in.
Right.
So,
and two businesses.
right,
Who's our second business?
just the one business for the EDA.
And you can use this money for your match.
We can use this
grant
money
for
for
your
our
match.
match. We've already
Okay.
incorporated that in there, so.
So the 33% match, which totals the 1.3. I'm still not following you on how that goes down to 900,000.
I
This is a
can,
33% match, not a 20.
we just have to have a 20 in order to apply, so we had that. Now that the actual numbers are coming in, I don't have those in front of me, but I think
So you were shooting for the 1.3 because you thought it was going to be more then it's
Our
actually-
estimates were
it's
very
ended
high
up
to
be.
begin with,
That's
yes.
why it's reduced as well, because the project is not as large as you once thought it was.
Right. Now, the number from the federal EDA will not change. We've been given the 2.6. That will stay the same. The
Doesn't
total,
matter the cost of the project,
Right.
they're still gonna
the
get the amount.
project cost is what's gonna move a little bit. So we needed the 1.2 or the 1.4 from the county to begin with as a backer to apply for those funds. Now that we have the funds, we're starting to get the details of the actual cost of everything.
So you have funds from what entity right now?
We will be getting the funds from the federal EDA, which is why this account has to be set up.
Which is.
But
the
you're
one-
not gonna get all this until.
Right,
well,
we
this
cannot
money's-
get anything until we figure out what the match is. Yeah, at the end of the day, there are organizations, we do not claim to be one of them, nor does this county. But at the end of the day, there have been projects in this beginning stage. You realize that I don't want to take out a $1 million loan or a $2 million loan to give the grant back.
Well, we can't get the grant back.
No,
because
we
we've
do
already
not want to
started.
be that. We do not want to give the grant
But
back.
you understand our concern right now is loans are denied. You don't have anything telling you you're going to get a loan from the state. Do
I
you have
understand that,
documentation? I
but
mean, I
they do
appreciate
have-
the handshake, but do you have
No, I
anything?
understand, but their division of their department set up for economic development. And one of the things that we did, we met with them prior to even applying for this. We've met with them during this process, after the process, and again on Friday. So we are not within their $5 million range. We're looking at $1 million. And if we need to do the state as well as a local bank, we can do both. This isn't one of the larger projects in the state. It's large for us. This is great for us.
And you have a tenant for the building.
We do.
How much money do you all have in your kitty?
For the corporation,
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure how this relates. I mean,
I mean, would you have any money to put in towards the match? if you
oh, we
needed to?
absolutely would, but that's not something we want to do. We want to do this through a loan.
Are we allowed to know how much money you have in case we need to budget in our budget?
I can submit, Mike Jenkins is on our board as well as David Hinkle, so we can get you the numbers. It's just not public information, and I don't have that number right off the top of my head. And it's nothing that we have to hide. I'm just saying, I don't want to really throw a number out there.
My question is, if you have the matching money yourselves, why did we ever have to give?
Oh, we
it
don't have the
all?
matching money. We don't have $1.4 million. We don't have $1 million. No.
Okay.
The whole point in doing this, because the corporation is 6 years in, is to be self-sustainable. I would love to say, I'd love to come back to the commission and say, we have $1 million to loan, similar to the Alliance. We do have the Economic Development Alliance for Harrison County, and we do loan for companies and businesses like this. The max is $250,000, so we couldn't even go to the Alliance for this. But at some point, we do want to be where we're self-sufficient, and it takes a project like this, where we all work together, the landholder, application for the grant, and the developer. We have a tenant coming in, we satisfy the loan as well as put money into the bank. So we use those for development funds, like you're talking about, Mr. Tree Cost, on another piece of land owned by the county that we would develop.
Okay, let me ask you this. Give us a timeline for this. We're moving dirt as we speak. When will the road go in?
We are not moving dirt on the EDA grant. We cannot move dirt until we set up all the administrative part of this.
And when will that start?
Once we get all the administrative, which is part of making sure we have the account set up, we have the reporting done, which was done January 31st, was submitted for our first reporting.
Now, let me ask you this. That's another question. Since this is going to go through the courthouse,
In the name of the courthouse, right?
we
So
have to then, who is going to do the monthly documentation?
that's to Region 6. Region 6, there's a line item in there as well for administration of the grant that goes to Region 6 to administer.
Who decided Region 6 would do this?
They're our regional clearinghouse.
Why don't we just do it in-house here at the courthouse?
And
We
they
have to
can't
go through
do that.
Region
Region
6.
6 can't.
Through a
set up-
federal EDA grant. We absolutely have to have Region 6 as our federal clearinghouse.
So we just set up the fund. Now, how does the money get from us to them?
To EDA, it comes the other way. So once the project starts, we have our estimates, we have our match in hand. Project starts, you now have an invoice. You will submit the invoice to federal EDA to approve.
Who's you?
The administration,
Okay.
here. So it will be Laura,
So it's
myself,
us,
and Region
Region
6.
I mean,
Yes, we
we're
will
involved
hear
in that.
as a project.
Where's the
yes.
money? Is it in our bank? I mean, we're setting up a fund.
It will come through this. So
So we
Federal
do the,
government-
just like we're doing requisitions now to pay a bill. It's gonna come through
absolutely.
here.
So you have to draw down the money. So the
So
federal
we're the
government
ones
has
that
the
will
money.
do all the
We have the
financial.
invoice. We submit the invoice to the federal government. Federal government says, okay, this is approved. We'll pay you that. We'll cut the check. They send it back to the county. The county has to put it into this account, write the check from this account to pay that bill.
The county puts what, where,
The federal EDA funds. So this is the county commission.
but
You
we're
have
gonna
an
put
invoice.
those in a fund to begin with, right? That's where this money, that's why the purpose of setting this fund up is for those funds to go into Fund 108, I believe is the number.
Correct, because they
And
cannot be
then we
mixed
do
with,
all this,
yes, it cannot be mixed
EDA
with,
sends something to
public
us, we write a
funds.
check to Region 6.
yes.
That, I just want to make sure, and I
Right,
don't
no.
mean to be ignorant to this.
No,
just
I
wanna make
understand. I just want to make sure I'm
understand.
explaining it the right way.
Okay,
So even though you're public dollars, the public's not allowed to know your information. It's not open to the public.
We're public-private. The
Public-private.
authority is public.
Okay.
The corporation is public-private. So we're set up different. We're not subject to
And that,
FOIA.
and Gina, in the past, when you've applied for the exact same things, you're not able to, Michelle, this time because that's why it had to go 3-6. You're not allowed to, even though you've done it in the past, because you've actually paid yourself before in the past from grants, right?
Oh, we wrote in administrative fees on.
Yeah.
Certain
But you couldn't do this one?
It's not.
I just wanted to know what the county's role is. That's all I'm
Right.
here to make sure how much, because I don't,
Well, one thing,
when this first started, I believed we just had to commit to the $1.3 million. I did not realize, and I'm being perfectly honest, this would all be involved. But I am all for development. I want to see this work. But I just don't want to see us have to lose, and I hope we,
Right. No, and there will be no county funds used. So if it takes $100 to set up the account, the corporation can do that. Now, a perfect project would be that the corporation has control or title of the land. And then we would make application and everything would stay within one entity. The way we're set up in this county, it's a little different, so we do have to partner.
so there won't be any county dollars as long as you get the loan.
Correct. And if we
And
don't get the
don't be
loan,
confused, none of us are ever going to stop this.
man hours.
This is
that's all.
incredible opportunity for us. So,
Oh,
This
no,
is-
I don't disagree with it, but I just want to understand the process.
and I want to
But
make
there
sure
will
I
be
answer all
county
your
man-hours
questions too.
involved in this. That's, I mean,
Right.
okay.
No, there was an option to. There was an option to have Laura as the administrator of this grant. But as the LAD, the corporation technically would be the one going through this whole process. I'm not going to exclude the county at all. So anything that's coming in through us, that's why I'm copying Laura on it to make sure. Now, team meetings, anything like that, right now they're by Zoom, so it's a little bit easier. But it's all through Region 6 and it's through Sheena Hunt, and Sheena can come and explain this as well. We did incorporate those administrative costs in there.
I didn't understand the whole process.
No, I understand. I've asked those questions too. Can we just do this ourselves? I mean, I worked for Region 6 back in the 80s and 90s. In my mind, I'm thinking if we could administer this, but we cannot.
okay, so we're not going to use the 400,000 as matching money.
No,
But we are in the end, Mr. Clerk, going to get single audited because we're going to cross the 750,000 over there, and you are going to have that information beginning to end.
Yeah, we have to get copies of everything.
So you need to start getting copied on everything the EDC is doing on this project, because it is going to come down to you whether the EDC wants this.
No, it'll come down to all of us.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the single
It's an
audit.
audit. and
Yeah.
It's the county getting audited. That's why we
Yeah.
have to have all the information.
So,
so right now, they have one point of contact to the county, and that is Laura. They do not list any additional names. So our point of contact through the developer, the development of this project, is myself. The point of contact to the county is Laura Peace. So I guess my question to you all, would it be okay that Laura, that you submit this as needed to those? And I think the Bryan brothers have asked that in the beginning too, just to make sure. And I don't want to leave you out if you want me to copy you as well, but
If it's okay with Laura, it's okay with me. She's more than welcome to forward me whatever we.
I
need.
just, here again, I worry about it just going to one person.
right.
That's all I'm gonna say on it.
Gonna have it set up there on the county.
That email.
Yeah.
and then make sure it gets forwarded to
Yeah.
the proper person in his office, or to him, and he can see that it gets to the proper person.
So the county administrator email goes to 3 different individuals, so then it's never missed, and that'll always be.
I mean, is that a problem?
No, not at all. So it's county administrator email.
Yes, county administrator at Harrison County.
And I'll make sure I have that
She wouldn't
right.
be here.
So,
But I'm still going to address it to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this will be the email directed to you.
Yes.
And then that way you will still be receiving it? Okay. Does that satisfy the requirements?
You good with that? Yeah.
I do have one question about the $400,000 grant that we were talking about. Now, is this a grant that you guys applied for, or is it the grant that?
It's through the county commission, because the county commission has to be the applicant. You have a project within your county, but you apply through the county commission.
Okay, so the 400,000 that you were talking about being notified of is the grant that G-Man them applied?
Yes, and I've contacted the state as of last week, so I don't know if you've received anything. We have 3 verbal commitments and an email, but not that letter. That will not come to me, that will come to the county as the award. So I received notification that we've received the grant, but I won't see anything else that will go to the county on that. I would just like to see it, I guess. It makes me feel more comfortable knowing that we've got that at hand, but that'll come to the county commission.
And now on their application, they check that it won't be a match for the EDA or EDA grant.
It's not, it's part of that total piece that we have. So we're good with that. We've cleared that with, I forgot his name, but we talked to- Yes.
Amy, great job. I mean, really, this is great. You have to understand as a commission, my only concern is, I feel like we've applied for a loan that we don't have the matching money in hand, and it scares me.
I think it would have scared me a couple years ago, but now with the focus on economic development, and we are a coal impacted state, we are a rural state, we are seeing a lot of funds coming in for economic development. They want to see this.
Okay.
We've got a site selection project that's coming up, or an initiative that's coming up that they are requesting that, or recommending that LEDs and counties go after shell buildings and site-ready pads.
Okay.
That scares me because you don't have an end user. We are lucky enough to have an end user. So even if we are to build a shell building that's not filled, that's what the state wants to see. So they, as their marketing, can send these companies and these businesses and locate it in these shell buildings.
So even if the medical marijuana people weren't coming, we're doing exactly what the state wants us to do.
Correct, but if I could clarify that one. The medical marijuana facility is separate from the EDA, and we've had to make sure that not even a fleck of
Because you
dirt
can't
from one will go on, not
mix.
one penny of federal funds will be used for anything that will benefit the medical marijuana facility.
Okay.
They're within the same park, but 2 completely separate projects and completely separate funding. The only thing that they will share will be the state access road grant, and that's allowable.
So as long as you stay in business and as long as we get the loan, we're in good shape.
Yes, and I don't want to say, it's been said before, but I don't, should anything happen to the corporation and it does dissolve, it goes back to the county. With the funds that we're bringing in, we want to make sure,
That's why we're scared.
I don't plan on going anywhere, and I don't want to see the corporation. I want to see us get to the point where we're not having to come back and asking for anything for a match we have it ourselves.
And please, there's nothing but light on this. There's no darkness. This is great. It's just.
Scary.
It is,
Going into
but this is how
budget
it
season.
works,
Yeah.
and
All the way around.
takes money to
Not
make
just
money,
here.
and that's what we're doing, and it's happening. We're able to build these shells and bring companies in, and we want to continue it, want to see it all over the county. We've got a few other projects we want to come back to you and work with you on. So if there's anything else that I can answer, and I do understand that it is confusing and it is scary, but if I can answer those questions, same goes for you, Laura.
But I appreciate you.
Oh, sure.
Now you're next.
One lawyer question.
Amy,
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question. How much easier would this be if the county was just deeding over the property that we own to you for development?
It would be much easier because it would all be one entity. Once we start owning land, then we, as the LED, will not have a full table of partners trying to piece this all together. We would own the land as title, make application for a federal or state grant. We would also be the developers. The only outside party would still be Region 6 for federal funding.
Yeah, Amy, I appreciate that, and Commissioner, but we're not gonna pay $1 million of taxpayers' money for a piece of property and give it away as a Christmas gift. We'll keep the property. I mean, heck, who would the heck wouldn't want that? Like, I mean, anybody in here doesn't want $1 million worth of property to develop? Johnny?
Nah,
I mean, you know what I mean? So, no thanks, guys.
And that kind of speaks to my question as well, is the development authority actively involved in the lease negotiation as the entity which actually holds title to the land at this stage, or are we just not there yet?
We're not there yet, but we involve them as well as the chair of the Development Authority is on the corporation board.
Certainly.
And we have 2 other members that are on the authority. They're on the board as well. So my board, when they do discuss, it's not an executive committee discussion of 1 or 2 people. It's presented to the board, especially when we're taking out a loan this large. So they're directly involved.
And I was thinking more in terms of the loan underwriters are going to want to see that type of correspondence or communication, I would think, between the development authority and the ultimate tenant of the property. Just a thought.
And right now, because they have a representation on the board, they are indirectly and directly involved. But we've just done straight with the commission as the landowners. And I do understand that the land is owned through the
Do they know what
authority.
the property is going to be used for? I mean,
For the,
who the tenant's going to be?
we do. Blue Rock Manufacturing, that we're, some of these paper, I think a lot of
What
that.
collateral will you use to get your loan? Do you need collateral?
We won't through the, depending on what we apply for. Again, we've had several banks that are very interested in doing a loan like this. It's not an outrageous amount, but we'd like to sit down with the state again and continue this process to see what rates we're going to get. So we have options, which is nice. One of the options, of course, is to hand it back and say, no, we don't want to do it and we're not using any funds.
No,
We don't even want that to be one of our options,
Not
but it
doing that.
is.
no. Well, again, I appreciate you coming to answer all these questions.
Absolutely.
Did you have any more, Commissioner Hinkle?
No, I'm just trying to figure out how we can make it easier to develop land, and this seems, because it's a county and going through the corporation and through the our development corp, that there's a lot of roadblocks, pitfalls, doesn't make for streamline. We own the property through the county. They're our recognized lead. I think there's ways to take the land, let them have it. We get money back from the sale or the lease. I think it's being narrow-sighted to just say that they can't have access to it without further investigation
So
into
we
it.
get money back from the sale or the lease, the county would?
Yes, ma'am. There's ways to do it to let them control and us to receive money back. I'm sure Trey could write something up that would take very well care of that and make this simpler for them. The funds are out there. We need to be applying for them. And the issue is who holds the land as ownership affects us, and it just makes us go through more hoops when we don't have to.
Commission, as long as I can say, as long as we continue to partner like this, I'd like to, love to bring back a couple of the projects to you. So, let's see the first example.
Is it somewhere else in the county?
Yes.
I mean, and I'm not saying that the airport's not important, please, but so isn't the rest of the county.
Right. And this is not airport property, and it's not an airport project, which is nice. It does happen to be adjacent to where the property.
But it's still out in that area.
Right, and we did
Okay.
discuss
That's all I
yesterday,
needed.
and with Mike Jenkins being on the board, it would be easier if we had a list of all county properties. So I have an idea of where they are, the location of where they are. And they
I
do
don't think
happen
that
to,
list is proper. I mean, we have a list that was sent out. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think Mr. Hinkle got it, but I do not believe that
it
I
needs
think-
cleaned up.
it needs cleaned up.
And that's
Just
what
when I
we
looked at
can
some of it, I
apply-
said, no, we don't own that.
we can
So
apply for more funds
I
that
don't
are
want that
grant
out
funded.
there. Because actually I was looking at some of them, but then I went, look, no, we don't own it. So. Can't
And
use
they
it.
fall in a municipality, they fall in an area that we can partner with another entity as well, so.
Okay, that would be, let's see something like that somewhere.
Game,
Not-
great work.
Okay, any more discussion on number 11 or questions from Amy or of Amy?
Move to approve to set the account up again.
Okay, he's doing it again, I guess. Move to approve to set the account up, Economic Development Administration Fund number 108. I think we've discussed this. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 12, review, discuss, consider a resolution authorizing the application for fund for Harrison County Community Corrections Program.
Yes, resolution,
Will you please identify yourself for the record?
Tina Jones, Director of Grants.
Oh, okay.
Resolution authorizing the president to affix her signature on all applications and documents pertaining to the community corrections grant or salary, it will partially pay the salaries for counselors and cases.
And this is an ongoing.
It's an every year.
Okay, and this is for,
Gary's department. And the next one is the same, just a different grant for a couple different employees.
so do we want to take 12 and 13 together?
You can.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
motion approved as stated by Tina.
And affix the signature?
Please.
Okay, motion to approve 12 and 13, correct?
Mhm.
And affix the appropriate
Signatures.
signatures?
President, yeah.
Okay. Any discussion?
Mhm.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I failed to remember the 10:30 hearing on delinquent, well, I tried. And unprogressed estates.
I would like to make one modification to that list. The county clerk's office made me aware that Geraldine Haggerty Gaynor, a representative from her state, reached out, and I believe that they are close and have an update to give them to the county clerk's office, so we were going to remove that name from this list. Otherwise, everything stays the same.
So we're just removing the one name, the Gainer.
Geraldine Haggerty Gaynor, yes.
Okay.
John, do you have anything to add to that?
That's it. You got it.
One here for the hearing at 10:30. Progress stays.
I forgot my script.
President, this is the only gentleman out there for a hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. Sir, could you state your name and what estate you are?
Administrator. I got a notice for the closure of the Gainer estate. I have a question about one of the beneficiaries. My aunt, she's now deceased, so I'm executor of her estate. I didn't know what had to be done there. I thought that's what this was for, is they were closing her estate.
But you have already talked to the county clerk's office, is that correct?
I brought this to them, yeah.
Okay. Have you got your answer about your aunt's estate? What needs to, because you're handling that one as well, correct?
I'm not doing the Gainer estate. I'm just, this is just for one of the beneficiaries.
Okay.
That's
Well, then I guess I'm confused. Okay. So you do not represent Geraldine Haggerty Gaynor in any way? You're not here for that estate?
One of my aunt was the
Okay.
beneficiary.
If we close this, administratively close this estate, I mean, we're removing it though, right? They told us to remove it from that.
Right.
So you want it left
From the
open?
list, correct?
From what I understand, they're getting one more signature and then they're closing it themselves.
Okay, okay,
So that's why it's being removed from the list. 'Cause they're pulling it, so
okay. That makes sense.
we don't need to administratively do it.
Got it, okay. So there is no one else here or on Zoom for the 10:30 hearing on the unprogressed or delinquent estates. Is that anybody on Zoom for this? Anyone on Zoom for the delinquent and unprogressed estates? Okay, hearing none, it appears that nobody is here for any of these estates. So we could move to administratively close these, with the exception of the Gainer estate, correct? Clerk?
Correct.
Okay,
So I can say motion to move forward and approve as you stated, Madam President,
okay, the motion would be to administratively close the estates with the exception of the Gainer.
as you stated. Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Number 14, thank you, sir. Review, discuss, consider assistance to local parks with land and water conservation fund applications providing up to $5,000 to match the LWCF grant fund request for local community parks list attached: Stonewood, Anmore, Summit Park, Good Hope, Wallace, Belcher, Nutter Fort, Salem, Lost Creek, Shinston, West Milford, Lumberport Parks and Rec. LWCF grant is a 50-50 matching grant, also providing up to $2,500 for environmental review of each proposed location required for the grant. Locations would be the same as parks indicated. Somebody want to speak to this?
Madam President, looking over this, well, I think it's a great idea, and I would recommend for the funds to come out of the Community Improvement Fund, the 026-401-568, where most of our contributions come from. I would actually like to see a table until after the budget time. I think it's a very worthwhile cause and something we can do to help our community. With it being budget time, I'd like to see a table.
I couldn't agree more. Anybody else?
Motion to table.
Okay, the motion has been made to table, so this needs to go on the table item. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Okay, number 15, review, discuss, consider budget revisions for vital services levy and general fund, county fund. Laura, do you have the information for that?
Yeah, so with the vital services levy, I broke down the list of all the budget revisions that need change with this one. We will be taking $79,276 from unencumbered funds and moving that to the ambulance authority. That is actually some bills we paid over the summer. We were behind like 3 years worth of bills for the ambulance authority, where the emergency squad fills up the vending machines and everything. So that is making those line items even again. Same with OEM, we were just finding where there were negatives and making them as they should be. Animal control, courthouse security, and Parks and Rec. And before any changes were done to Parks and Rec, I did talk to Mike Book, just so he was fully aware, and we discussed what needed done in that line item.
Motion approved A and B, Madam President.
Motion to approve number 15, A and B. Any discussion?
Yeah, the unencumbered funds, Laura,
Yes,
what's in that account?
there's close to $1 million in that account.
And that's $1 million from the levy that's unencumbered.
Correct, over the past 5 years.
And it's not supposed to go to particular areas.
We are in the process of looking at what has been left over in those departments over the past couple of years and putting that money in there for them to use.
Who's we?
Myself and bookkeeping.
We put that to discuss on the next agenda so we can be involved.
Absolutely.
So if any of these others have a shortfall, there's money to bring it in from the levy to take care of it? Is that what
If
you're
any of
saying?
So each one of these departments in the levy are earmarked so much every year. They may not have used all their funds, so we have X amount of dollars available for OEM 911. We have X amount of dollars available for ambulance authority and so on and so forth. Those funds have to go to the entity that it was earmarked for, that the citizens voted on.
So when will that be available? What these unencumbered funds are by each one of these departments?
We can work that on that and have it on the agenda for next week, like you requested.
And we're still, Mr. Book works for us, or does he work for Parks and Rec?
Mr. Book currently, on paper, looks like a county commission employee, but we are treating them like they are their own entity. He goes to his board. He does come to us for information, whether it's their expense report, whether it's their budget. They've been gathering information from that, but we are trying to make that break and work with them and treat them like they are their own entity.
And Commissioner Hinkle, this is Trey. I'm planning on going to the Parks and Rec meeting this Friday morning to start to get the ball rolling in terms of cementing that process, unless I have to go to a deposition in Connecticut.
I just find it unusual that we're paying their bills. That's
We're
not
paying
our
their
money.
bills. We're paying their bills, but it's coming out of their funds and they're fully aware of it. They know, they turn in all their requisitions.
And where do you stand on reimbursement for the last 5 years?
That's what we can discuss next week. We can see how much is left over for Parks and Rec, along with the other departments.
And where do we stand on agreements between us and Parks and Rec?
That is where Trey is going to their Parks and Rec meeting on Friday, unless he has a deposition to work on this MOU that we need to have in place with Parks and Rec.
It's been like 4 or 5 months and we haven't done it yet.
It's been about how many years and we haven't done it, so what's the hurry?
I guess it's just because you're doing it wrong doesn't mean you keep doing it.
Amen to that, Commissioner Hinkle.
Correct, but it's been brought to our attention and we are working on it, and we've had other projects that we're working on. But Trey and I are on the same page about getting this done.
It's the only questions I have.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Consider memorandum of understanding cooperative agreement between Harrison County Commission and Community Corrections. Who wants to speak to that?
Hi, Gina. Gina Jones again with the Director of Grants.
Thank you.
As part of our grant requirements and submitting grants, we have to have the cooperative agreement between the County Commission and the Community Corrective Advisory. That is something that we do every year. And it's just for the commission to approve, you go fix your signature, and then after which Prosecutor Romano will also fix her signature.
What's the pleasure?
We should move forward and fix the signatures.
Motion to move forward and affix signatures. Any more discussion or any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, Laura, number 17, administrators report.
So we had a great, very beneficial training with the auditor's office yesterday. I was happy that I was able to attend that. It was here in Bridgeport. The grants department, myself, representatives from Thrasher are going to meet today about seeing about more grants for the PSBs and see if we can help expand some of these projects and grow them. We were made aware of the water leak in Anmore. We were keeping a very close eye on it. The water has been restored this morning. They are under a boil water advisory, but the county has been involved since the beginning of the leak and keeping informed on that. Monday is a holiday, so I need all agenda items by tomorrow, Thursday at 11 a.m. And then the agenda will have to be posted on Friday. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Treehouse?
Only to thank Wendy Madden from Congressman McKinnon's office for attending today. We appreciate having you attended. And also thank you that the congressman is quite regularly in Harrison County meeting with us as individuals elected as well as the public. Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Hinkle?
No, ma'am.
I have nothing.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.